Hey, it's Rachel, and I want to give you a couple of tips for handling times like vacations and summer breaks and winter breaks, where we sort of, as parents, have a love-hate relationship with these times where kids are not in school or in some other structured activity. So these times, like I said, we have a love-hate relationship because they can be really relaxing and fun and we get some great memories, but kids are also more likely to misbehave during these times. And one of the reasons they misbehave is because we take these times and we almost remove all structure. We say, oh, we want to relax, so then we don't do our normal routines, or we don't have a structure to our day. We just let things go with the flow. And while that's really great, and I think it is super important to get out of that fast-paced, frenetic energy that you have during, the school year and other structured times, you don't want to remove all routines completely and all structure completely. Because when kids have a little bit of wiggle room, they tend to take advantage of that. So when there's no structure, they tend to misbehave more. So you want to make sure during these times, if you want better behavior, to still maintain some routine and some structure, especially around the times where you have some more difficult behavior. Maybe that's in the morning or around bedtime. Maybe you take away their bedtime, so every time you try to get them to bed, they fight you. You want to maintain some routine. And what I want to do now is give you an example of what I mean by a routine, especially one that happens over long breaks. And this is the power struggles over devices and things like getting kids to do chores or other things that you want them to do. So here's how I suggest you can start to think about a routine to get your kids to do more. The first thing you want to do, especially if you're trying to reduce the amount of time they're on screens, is to allocate screen time for younger kids or non-screen time for older kids. So for younger kids, you may say something like, okay, you can be on your screens for 3 hours a day. For older kids who have phones and things like that, it's a little harder to do that. So what you want to say is you have to be off of your screen for about 3 hours a day. Now, you want to give them some ownership into this process. So you let them know how long they can be on their device or they have to be off their device, but maybe they get to decide when. Do they want those 3 hours to be in the morning or the afternoon? So give them a little bit of ownership, but ultimately you want them to have a specific set time that they know they're allowed to be on screens or they must be off of their screens, because when you have that structure, you'll get less pushback. The second thing you want to do if you want your kids to do more, for example, during the summer, you want them to maybe, read a little bit or move their bodies or do some chores around the house. So the second step is you want to make a list of the things that you expect them to do. So you also want to give ownership over this step. So you may say to them something like, you need to move your body at least once a day, but they can decide, do they go to the pool? Do they ride their bike? How do they move their body? So you're giving them some ownership over that. The third thing you want to do is combine the first two steps and make a when-then rule. So when you move your body for at least an hour, then you can get on your device within that allocated time period. So you have a very clear structure that they have to do something first. They have to do certain things, move their body, read for an hour, whatever it is that you decide, and then they can be on their devices within that time period that you set. And I highly recommend that you type up this when-then rule and print it out and post it somewhere. And that becomes the routine, and that becomes what they expect. And the more consistently you enforce this routine, the less pushback you're going to get. But if you are sort of willy-nilly with it, you're going to get a lot of pushback. But if you can create these routines throughout your day, especially, like I said, around difficult periods, and you can be consistent, you will get less and less pushback when they know that there are no loopholes and there's no way that they can get around the routine or the boundary. So I hope that gives you some ideas for how to improve behavior even during these more relaxing times. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me at rachel@rachel-bailey.com. I'll see you next time.